The family of man, or the origin of man, where did all began, the origin of the races of people on earth. But however, we all come from a single ray of light. Is like a photonic light that has many sparkle. Everything there is come from that rays, that photonic rays. Or I would say it come from the quarks and atoms. I have to be precise. I don't know why all this secret and all this nonsense for this mystery. I don't like mystery. The origin of the races is that which proceeds from 5 basic groups. The first group to inhabit Earth as entities. No, but it has been 72 species of beings living here prior to this one that we have right now, which is Homo sapiens version 2. Okay, there has been a version 1. And each time they downgrade, supposedly they are downgrading more and more the species. They are not upgrading, however, they are downgrading them. The first group to inhabit as entities similar to humans known today was the Lemurian race. Their warnings indicates that the Lemurians were of a very old historic origin on this earth, and they seen no disagreement in this entity's command in this regard. This warning suggests that these entities did at one time have interspace travel. There were visitation from other planetary systems to and from Lemuria. This study suggests that it continues. So question, these entities were made by genetic engineering, which was done by Syrians on the highest ape at the time. These people evolved away from the animal traits and became more and more human-like as the time went on. Yeah, there's some people here who really look like that they are from ape, but I'm not sure. This warning indicates that it sees the genetic engineering as that which produced human genes or Sirenian genes into the animal kingdom to produce apes. That it was not, what's that? That it was, what kind of grammatic is this? It was not much that the apes were made to evolve toward the human, but these Syrians, but that the humans added certain human genes to the apes or those creatures of anthropoidal nature and altered them somewhat. The humans were the Syrians and had their development already intact. They were not humans, it's all a bluff. Reptilians are not humans, they can be humanoid, they have been here a long time ago to extract the DNA from humans and create their own, okay, to survive. In order to survive, they came here to extract the resources. So I do not believe that those beings were humans at all. It's a lie. I don't buy that. It's the opposite. They came here to mix their ape DNA into the humans that they already found in here. There were many species of humans, and I still believe that there were all the continents now developed, all the races coexisting at the same time. However, what happened was that after that, when they came here, they invaded the earth. What they did was mixing their animals, their genes with humans to produce chat, another species, and this is the result we have today. A species which is retarded, warlike, brutal, cruel, at least I would say 65% of humans are like this. Not all, however, a great percentage is quite a substantial percentage of humans, or I would say it is they are replica of the real humans that existed in here. And what matters mostly is not only the kind of brain programs we have, as it does. Now, what matters is not the body that we have, and that's the kind of program and brain we have and mentality. The body is not very, I would say, it's not relevant, okay, as it is the kind of program and entity we have as a essential, because everybody has a different, I would say, kind of causal body and how they say their own superior self. Okay, the superior self is not quite the conscience, but is their kind of stupid programmed mentality. You could say from external factors like a culture, a race, etc. It could be a political ideology, anything like that. However, all these people, either collectively or individually, they do have their own set of thinking, and that's is what going to define you and define them. It's not much the body as it is our kind of mentality, the collective mentality of this species in here. Okay, so the effort to alter the ape was a separate experiment. It's a lie. You are the ape. You are the ape. I don't like lies with me, really. It's stupid. I don't know how come a person say they are scientists and they talk about the ape and humans mixing about. I don't understand it. So they have sex with the ape, is it? Huh? What kind of idiot will have sex with the ape and create chat another? Wow, suddenly from the nothing sprung a species that is different from the ape, while the remnants still exist. It doesn't make any sense to me, because as we think this way, there is still apes existent out there. So it doesn't hold water into my pail. My pail. This one, this study indicates that there were alterations. No sense, you are the ape. These were not as widespread as men would believe. Of course, and I'm not surprised that it wasn't. This one indicates, however, the Lemurians in general were descendants of the Sirens, who were not humans. Those are aliens. Aliens are not humans at all. They are not a type. Okay, they are more like animal-like. And some genetic engineering made use of genes from animals to give the Sirenian human a kind of stability that allowed them to survive on their sort of reptilian lie. My God. So they want to be the real human. You see how I really pity them, because they have very low self-esteem. First of all, they do not accept who they are. They are renegade, and they want to be the humans here, and I say that we are not the humans. When they as an animal came here and I mixed it their DNA with ours, you see, to pollute the people here. I'm not talking when I talk about animals, I'm not talking about the animals we have here on earth. That one is okay, mild, but there are real beasts in the other side that you don't see. They are real beasts. The animals here are okay. Okay, we need to treat them with love and care because they make part of the earth with us. They co-create with us. However, I'm talking about another kind of beast that has nothing to do with the animals that we see. So, wow. So, and some genetic giant made use of genes from, I don't know, saying that you are the animals, you are not me, to give the siren humans a kind of stability that no sense, which was necessary for the survival due to harsh conditions. There were already humans here who were already equipped with the abilities to withstand the harsh conditions here. And a long time ago there were not this hard condition. It was not very hard as they made it up to be. There were no such thing. Okay, they made this earth harsh once they came here, but it wasn't like this prior to their arrival. This wordness indicates lies. This had to do with certain qualities of the native anthropoidal beings, which were used to the environmental conditions, whereby these qualities add to the Syrian natural physical bodies and gave them the greater survivability, want to ally themselves to the life conditions. Yes, so rubbish, lies, all lies. Their long history, they evolved into the advanced civilization. Yeah, this wordness indicates the reaching up, this reaching a peak of civilization approximately 200,000 years ago, approximately 300,000 years after they came here. You see how it all coincides with their arrival in here. They came here 300,000 years ago, 500,000, and within after the 200 years, they start to make changes. That these entities that have a high civilization, you see it? Yeah, civilization based not so much on materialism and material technology as in a mental and psychic technology. Of course not, because it was just the beginning, but there were, yeah, some kind of technology after that during Atlantis. They were able to do with their minds things that the Atlanteans did with tools and equipment. Lies. Atlanteans also had ability to be very highly psychic. Is their lie, very big lie. This warning indicates that during this time they continued to have contact with Syrian entities and travelers, and there were a degree of trade between the two worlds. This ordinance indicates that the civilization began to diminish approximately 100,000 years ago, and approximately 50,000 years ago was more or less at its destruction, wherein the seas began to rush over the lands. What is happening right now, because they want to conclude this invention. They call it project, and they want to do it away with it. And the waters entered into the cavern. This one is just the message continuing. when the cavern world that they inhabit flooded and sank, most were killed. Yes. A few remained alive and were forced to live in islands and became surface dwellers. I have known about these beings, and they lived in caverns and they made a lot of minerals. They dealt with minerals, and the the temperature in these places were very very high. It could go up to 1000 Fahrenheit at a times. So this is correct. This is the origin of the Polynesian tribes. Um, this is okay, yeah, correct to some extent. Many of the Polynesians actually migrated to Pacific from Africa, from northern Africa, moving eastward through India, Indonesia, and the Pacific. These entities brought some of the Western teaching with them. Well, how come Western teach when Africa is Western, for them to bring Western teaching to them to Polynesia? Doesn't make any sense. What happened in Polynesia was that the British went there and had sex with the woman, and they made blonde babies. That's what happened. And I want to clarify that a long time ago, millions of years ago, there were a lot of races, of course, and one of those races were blue in color, and the vegetation here were blue as well. And also the sun were not the kind of sun that we have here. The sun of here is to it kind of sustain more a reptilian kind of mentality, because they do need the hot sun and hot climates. They don't like it cold. Okay, they need the sun. A long time ago, when the vegans were here, the sun was relatively colder. The temperature were very low, about 10 degrees Celsius, more or less, I don't know, 22 Fahrenheit, around this range. And people lived somewhat better than what we have today. Extreme heat, extreme cold, extreme heat, extreme cold and drought. A second group are the Atlanteans, who were genetically invented by the Pleiadians and transplanted to the Earth. This study indicates that there were those who were called Atlanteans. Atlanteans were very tall. They looked like grays. They were very fair, white, real white color, and very tall. Were space beings who lived in what is known as the Atlantic. These entities became enemies with the Lemurians early in the time of Lemuria. Atlanteans, or the Atlanteans, were a group whose origin was found on Mars through genetic engineering by the Greys. In particular, the Origen Greys. Yeah, this was called the tall Greys. However, the Greys also has many business in Asia. Okay, they manipulate those species that we have right now around those areas. The Zeta, the fatty, shorty gray. This ordinance indicates that these entities from Orion, using genetic engineering, created the qualities, created those Semites. It's a lie. Grace never created Semites. It's a lie. And certain of the Atlanteans, Greys are more like the Asiatic type, more to do with Asian, that were most advanced in civilization during the time of the decline of Lemuria. And the Greys also who works with and kills, they are mostly in Asia. This ordinance indicates that in actuality, the civilizations of Mars was at the highest nearly a million years BC and had undergone a great decline by the time the Greys used as genetic engineering base for creating the later aliens. The original aliens used the Mars bases. These entities were not the same as the Atlanteans. They were called Atlantes, and their origin was that which was from beyond the solar system. These were the early enemies of the ancestors of the Lemurians, those who came on Earth long before the Lemurians. They were caused to evolve quickly by the influence of their creators, and they interact with other races which came later. This is yes, correct. This awareness indicates that some of these other races included the Semites, that the white race is known today. The Semites are not white. It's a very bluff thing. Semites are different. They are like Iranians. Okay, Semites, the original ones, like Iranian Kurds, like that, Arabics, they are not white. They are not, never been. However, Jews that you call Jew is a religion. Jew is not a race, which would be they will have other terms like Hebraics, Hebrews, Arabs, Parsis, and many others. And I have another one that's men, but they were not white. That's not true. Only because the white race from Ural Mountains in Russia went there. Okay, went to Afghanistan, went to Middle East. Turkish, now mixed with European, went on to North Africa and went to Lebanon, also has a Turkish influence, and Iran as well do have Turkish immigration, from what I can gather. But they were not white. That's not true. It's because of this invasion from east to west, that the race had sex together and created another different races, a mixed kind of races. The Caucasus area in Russia, or the Caucasus Mountains, and prior to this arrival, most Atlanteans were what would be termed red skin, or closer to the American. There's no such thing as American Indian. They are all from Asia. They are either from that mountains in Mongolia. From There's some studies who say that there were some in ancient Egypt, and some were from what you know today as Japan, because Japan now have a very Japan and Korea and China is highly mixed. They think that they are so homogeneous and superior, but they are not. They are mixed. They are mixed race as well, but they it will not show in the DNA mark. Okay, it will not show. But they are mixed race as well. And yeah, these people that we see today is tribal shamanic people. They hail from Asia. Those are the Asians ancestors. They were placed in there when the other races who already lived there were thrown out and banished. Okay, the Basques once already there. Basque people look like Latin, very fair skin. They look like Iberic, Spanish, Portuguese, Italians. They were there already. Later came the Vikings. The ancient Egypt started to come later to do trade when they put those Asian people into Americas. They start to make trade with them, but it was later, and I do not believe these people have tens of thousands of years there. I would say they have at least, I would say 607, no more than 650 years there. Okay, they were there about 100 to 150 prior, when the Latin start to take back their lands. Yes, Christopher Columbus decided to go there and take back their land, and the others follow through. Okay, the British, because Atlantis was once British and Basque all together. It was a very large island that did commerce, trade with ancient Egypt, but they were not in good terms with those Lemurian and Sumeria, and they always fight because of the jealousy, until this Lemuria invaded and the others invaded Atlantis, and the reptilian come in, the war come in, and they throw a nuclear bomb into what is now called the Americas, the Central Americas, the Bermudas Triangle, and over there were a site for a crystal city. There are crystal still there in the bed of the sea near the Mariana Trench. There are buried crystals that sunk when the reptilian threw a nuclear bomb. This bomb went on for many millions of years before they bring in their favorable people into there. All here said are all bluff. What a nonsense. The Atlantis in the sinking of Atlantis moving to Central and South America and known as the Mayans. That was a long time ago, millions of years after the deluge, the cataclysm that happened there in the Americas. Okay, that was millions of years after. It was recently, not a long time ago, that the Atlanteans, Mayans moved farther into south, not a lie. Spent to different tribes, taking on different names, small number keeping the name. Ah, stop your lie, like you all even killed that Veracruz, Veracruz, who came to teach you all agriculture and medicine. They kill everybody who came to their place. That's why this time around the Latin race came with a favor. Good, take back your land, land of your ancestral. Go warriors. It's belong long time ago. Belong to what you see that the sons of Roman. So Atlanteans were white-skinned and they mixed with other races to form such groups as the Indians, India, the Arabs and Jews and the I don't know what the Pinos have to do with anything. The Pinos are mixed with blacks and others are Chinese or whatever. They have nothing to do with and they are mixed with Arabs also, with Iberic Arabs from Spain. Has nothing to do with the white people. What a nonsense. Only because the white people went there doesn't mean that they had sex so much with those women, those Polynesian dark-skinned women to form another race. It was already the Chinese who already mixed skin went to Europe with Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan went there and plundered, commit a lot of atrocities there. But they erased from history all this. They deleted. They killed an entire Russian family. They would put the planks, that board, that planks board on top of the victims, and they will made the horses to stomp on their victims, crushing their bones. That's how the Mongols would do. They would take a woman, white woman, blondes, whites, as their concubines. And when they form another kids, these same kids migrate through that mountain, the Kazakhstan, all those places there, they migrate back to China, and I went on. So that's how it spread the white race and also through the Turkish, now widely mixed with Europeans, went to China also and were enslaved by them, and they mixed their races. You see, that's how you have fair skin Asiatic nowadays, but they were all like Polynesian, all dark, and they were mixed with blacks as well. There's a race in the Philippines long time ago, they're called negritos. Why negritos? Because they're mixed with blacks. It was not after the advent of the Spaniard who came in that they add some mixture. Okay, and the Chinese later, the Chinese were now mixed, was came in. So you see all those people who see themselves as so homogeneous, so pure, they're actually not pure, they are mixed. Even the Germans nowadays are all mixed with Hebraic, Semites. See, you see German brown skin, they are Semites. They are not quite, because they have light hair doesn't mean they are pure Germans. And that's what Hitler was fighting for, because Hitler was foreseeing the future that they would mix. And that they did, because that's the plan, the master plan to add mixed people and make trouble into the Occident. Okay, that's what happened. But they didn't want to add mixed the Asiatic so heavily, the black so heavily, as they did in the Occident on purpose. That was the master plan of the Anakins. Go find out who are the Anakins. The race of today is a result of the Atlanteans come to Europe before the myth of the continent to form permanent colonies, which later grew into into large populations. I had the out of the body one experience where it was in 2015 where I went to China and I saw a lot of you women. There were pagoda there, and there were a lot of you women tied up by the result into the how to say the handle. The staircase were made of bricks. However, they were tied up to that because there is some kind of a gap there. I saw a gap, so they were tied up by the result. Inside there were a basement in those pagodas, and there inside there were a lot of slaves. Some of them were not Asiatic. I saw a lot of what looked like Latins and maybe Turkish. I'm not sure. I was one of them. I was the cooker, and me and another person who went together to see me. He is in another country, another continent with different time zone, but we went at the same time. Okay, only that our time zone was different. Although it was different, we went at the same time, about 4:30 p.m. for me and about 4:30 a.m. for him. So we did not combine anything. Just happened. This happened naturally, and we entered there, and we both saw people there because this guy is very high sensitive. Me too. So we went there, and then we saw that people there in the basement. There were a lot of slaves there, a lot of all white slaves. And they talk about the black. The blacks came later. Asiatic also enslaved a lot of the blacks as well. So I was the cooker. I was a young, pretty woman, and I was made to cook for the emperor. And he made us use one kind of fan, oriental fan, and I blow him, non-stop blow. And I look at my friend like this, like we want to psychically, like we were planning to kill him. We psychically could communicate with one another, say, we want to kill this man, because we went to the past, you see. And I say, one day I'm gonna kill this man. If he come near me, I'm gonna kill him, because he looked at me with a very kind of a luscious look, like you say, how is it? I want you today in my bed, some kind of a look like that. And I was inside, I was killing him with my eye, very high hatred toward that fat emperor. And what happened was that after that I woke up, but later on, I think 1 month or 1 year later, I saw one article where they say that the emperor of China, I don't know what dynasty, but it happened, it was Ming or whatever, that emperor had killed his cooker. It was not his cooker, it was a woman, and she was a foreigner. It was not a Chinese man. It was a foreigner woman. He killed her, and that woman was me. See, and there were also a woman that they see as a traitor. All women, all been, as I said, tied up to the pagoda. All Chinese women who disobeyed him. She's wearing that very beautiful gown, very long, very beautiful oriental garment. So that's what I saw. I saw 2015. It was not a dream, it was a vision. I came out of my body at 4:15 a.m. I was sitting when I slumped, and I came out of my body and I went to the past. And this is possible. It's possible, because me and that person, from Brazil. We had a very connection. You see, you have very high connection that I don't know what is some kind of connection from the past that caused us to have this kind of phenomenon, out of the body phenomenon. So in the end of the Atlantean civilization, the other three groups were formed by space travelers from Arcturus. As a bluff, Chinese are Orions. They are Orions. The Orions and the Alpha Draconians. They are not Arcturus. They are Orion, Grace, and Zeta. I have seen them with a Zeta. It was in 2014. Have met with Zeta and a Chinese vampire. This woman followed me twice. One of this time, the second time around, she how to say that kind of slime, snaring kind of smile. She took my granddaughter away from me. My granddaughter is half Asian. She took my granddaughter away from me. And I cried for my granddaughter. I looked after my granddaughter since young. She took my granddaughter away from me. And in the dreams I would run after my granddaughter, pleading for her to return. And she was like in trance following this woman with white gown and a very black hair. And this woman turned around and she crossed the road with my daughter, my granddaughter. She looked around and she smiled. You know that very wicked smile, like the her lips turned to another side like this, like I got you. You know why she did that? Because that when they abducted me in 2014, this Gray wanted me to disclose something I didn't know. I really didn't know what he was talking about. He was telling me to tell the truth, to tell what I knew, and I what you mean? Tell us, what do you know? I say, I don't know what you're talking about. I really did not know. I was really innocent. They said, you don't act innocent, tell us. And I kept on saying, I don't know. The vampire was on the other side and he on the other side, each one on my left and my right shoulder. And then came a time when they start to press with their hands, press my shoulder, shake violently and shouting and tell, if you don't tell what you know, we are gonna open the bottom of this mothership. It was a very huge mothership made of metallic silver, very huge. And I'm not stranger to being kidnapped by them in Brazil, in the northeast of Brazil too. I've been kidnapped when I was a teen. It was in 1983, prior to me marry a Asiatic man. It was all a setup. All this was a setup. So they came to me in Brazil. They abducted me and my mother. Two persons cannot lie. My mother also have the same strange occurrence that occurred 3 times in a row. Today, tomorrow, and after tomorrow. And when my mother tried to intervene to protect me, I would call, Mom, please help me, Mom. 3 men with a space suit, very short, would grab my arms and take me away. I would fight with them, but they had I couldn't say, they have some very powerful force that they dragged me inside a spacecraft. The spacecraft was not sophisticated. The ones those type on the 50s, the same one from Area 51. It was very old and it stayed behind the Grange where I live, because we have a very large backyard surrounded by fruit trees. We had a orchard in a Grange. and they landed in the backyard of the house. And once they did, the chicken would all croak, 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 because we had chickens, a lot of chicken, and they would all make noise, become very agitated once they landed the spacecraft. And they did kidnap me 3 times in Brazil and once here in 2014. That was long time later. And this time around was another gray. This first gray was a bit smaller. There was also Zeta, but not quite. There was another type, but this time around here in Asia, it was a really hostile one. He was fat and short. I supposed to have told him, "Hey, dude, you really put on weight. Huh? You are very fat and obese right now. Huh? You're not been working out because back then you were so thin. Now you are so fat." And then they start to shout at me and say, "If you don't tell us what you know, we're gonna open the bottom of this spacecraft and we're gonna throw you right down in the interior of the hell." That means what? I would die. I would die. I would be found dead on my bed, and actually they are taking away my soul. Huh? And he said he would throw me into hell because there is such place down, deep down in the center. Not the center, is the bottom of the earth. Wherever there's a volcano, there's hell. So I got very angry, very angry. By now, I'm losing my mind, and I stood up. I was sitting. There's a lot of panel, just like what happened in my past in '83. Now I see a lot of panel and a lot of lights, colorful lights. And I stood up. I went to not the center. I stay a bit far away from the center of the craft, and I started to shout back at them. I told them, "You are not my God. I'm not afraid of you bastards. Do you understand? I'm not afraid of you because I am. When I say that, but right now I'm okay. I'm telling it very mild. And at that time, I was telling very loud that they close their ears not to listen, and they keep on saying, "Stop, stop, stop, stop." And I keep on shout and shout and shout, I am. Once I said that, my chest open up and a light come on. This ray of light grab them straight, knock them down. Before they went down, they go on a swirl. You know the swirl? They went like the zzz in a swish, and they evaporate like a light, like pow, exploded and disappeared. And then I come down to my body in a bank. And after that, they no more disturbing me, because disturb me, you get beaten. You come, I am okay, but you come to me, you're gonna get. See? So they no more there, because I'm not afraid. They know me. They know, you bastard. First of all, you give me a very terrible configuration to carry on in my life. Second, you come to bully and harass me. Look, you're stupid. So they are very rude. They are very brutal and rude. They are worse than Rapture. I have seen Rapture in 2018. They are not very. They are very powerful. You know, I would not advise come near them. Because you're not gonna be able to move. This is what happened to me. I didn't come near them. They come near me. I woke up with one sleeping in my bed with me, and only his head took all over my torso. Only his head, so large. I don't know how he was squeezed in that room. And he hugged me very tight. Very tight. No, he was very careful not to hurt me. His hand, one swipe, his palm were the size of my entire torso. Not my entire, no, half of my torso. If he could scratch me with one swipe, he would have killed me. But he was very, very careful, very gentle not to hurt me. But boy, did he smell. He smelled terrible. I thought the cats had the past motion around the house. He was terrible smelly, and I couldn't say I'm not able to move, and I mean trying to close my nose with my hand, but I couldn't move because I don't want to move. I don't want him to know that I was waked, and I was waked. And he hugged me behind. He was very respectful. I'm not saying that he was, let's say, lecherous or naughty. He wasn't. He was very, very respectful, more than a human. And he whispered in my ears, "I like you. You are my pet. Do you know that?" And I didn't say anything because he was not disturbing me, and he said that he liked me, and this bruised my ego. I was like, "Oh, okay, you like me, like, thank you, okay, no problem if you are alien or reptilian, whatever, but you like me, or so you said, and then you are respecting me, so I'm okay with you." And then he stayed with me for a while. I don't know how many minutes. He looked like a life. He looked like one day. I once prayed that he let me go, and he finally released me, and I saw his energy gone. Once he gone, I stood up. I sit down, and I look around on the room. It was about 10 in the morning. I was alone at home. And I look around, I found nothing, but the smell still lingers. If the smell stays around, that means he was still around. The smell stay around 10 minutes after, 15 minutes after he gone. So you see, those Zetas are real bastards. I really don't like them. Very rude, very, very rude, even more than the reptilians. And also I have others. I mix up. No, I once visited by Oriental from Orion aliens. Most look like the Chinese. There was a dog midget with them. And there was another who short. Already looked like a midget in a way. It was like 1 meter 30, 1 meter 35, and another one was around 90 cm tall. And they took me away also. I don't know what they wanted from me, all these beans, see. And it really exists. For those who are skeptical, it's up to you. You have a right to be skeptical, but it really exists. And I have so many aliens visiting me, so many blondies, blacks from ancient Egypt, blondes, tall white from Atlantis. Wow. The Kalinas, I think they are Kalinas. Kalina do Star Virgo. They also went to Atlantis. And that one was naughty, that one's naughty. The very white one, he's pale white, very, very white, and a very tall, and his eyes is upwards, almond upwards, very large, blue-eyed, and they got no hair, and they wear that. I think they wear a space suit. That's why they sound as if they are bold. They are bowed, and he came to me twice. They come to me in 2004, first time. Twice, no, he come to me 3 times. He was always around me. This been always. He come to me in 2004. The next was in 2014, 2000 to 2013. I have a lot of encounter, and he told me that he was my husband in last incarnation. He was my husband. I also met with what's they call it, werewolves. I met with werewolves. I met with gray people, with horny, gray. The skin, I don't know what's a bodysuit or what. His eye all white, heavy horny. His skin. I met to see them. That one's very threatening. The energy is very low and they're very threatening. You see them, you're gonna shiver. And yeah, into the one, this white one appeared to me last in 2017 on my computer. So I have a lot of experiences with them. So Portugueses, Atlantid have space travel, and show an important view of the original state of the planet, being that which was not inhabited by humans. As interesting to note that the first human were modified from animals, while group that came later were made of modifications. No, this didn't happen. Humans were always humans. Travel themselves. The blacks were born from a combination of reptilian and reptilian genes and the use of AP genus. Ooh, that's very, I don't know, discriminatory or whatever. But were later modified by those Syrians to evolve into humans, became same characteristics as all the others. Oh, so at first they mix up the black people, who some say comes from one planet near Neptune, others say it is from near Saturn or Sirius. I'm not sure. So that's for that is it for part 1. Later I'm gonna do part 2.